Kate Middleton, Duchess of Cambridge, once said, "A child's mental health is just as important as their physical health and deserves the same quality of support." And while I agree with this sentiment, I can say that not only is the quality of support not the same, but in most cases, it hardly exists in the first place. This is even more true for children who at times are expected to act like adults, high schoolers, and to a lesser extent, some college students as well. At one point in our lives, most of us were stressed out high schoolers who had no idea what we were doing or what we were going to be doing with our lives. To make matters worse, we didn't know how to treat those emotions that were brought about due to that stress. Many of us held that deep inside, and it took a severe impact on our mental health. Mental health is something that is just now becoming acceptable to talk about. However, for many, it can still be considered taboo. These mental health problems can follow us from high school to college, especially when we are introduced to a new environment, far away from home, and with people we might not know. In fact, a 2016 study shows that 39% of college students that participated claimed to have some sort of mental health issues. I, for one, did not go directly from high school to college. I took a few years off to figure out what I wanted to do with my life and who I was as a person. However, just because I can't necessarily relate to this issue directly, since I wanted to become an educator, I felt like I should learn to mitigate the stigma of mental health and be able to help high schoolers and college students alike talk about emotions. In order to do that, it is important to understand where this type of stress and emotion comes from, understand different ways of combating that. And the article entitled "High School Seniors Tell Us Why They're Stressed Out," it is stated that out of the 348 participants, about a third of the seniors surveyed say that grades, graduating, and worrying about college is the main source of their stress. However, while we know this, among other reasons for stress, most students refuse to talk to an adult at school about these problems. The article states that a high percentage of high schoolers see the majority of adults, including teachers, counselors, and administration, as being fake. Being unable to address that disconnect between young adults and authority figures is a major factor that is keeping cast the shadow on mental health for young people. Like I previously mentioned, stress and mental health problems can follow you after you graduate high school. In fact, according to the article entitled "Mental Health and Social Adaptation Following Transition from High School," it states that mental health research is beginning to highlight late adolescence and adulthood as a high risk period due to the major transitions in one's life. The article then goes on to mention the stress reactivity model, which states in the context of this particular transition, since it is such a unique transitional period, that it creates a stress response that is equally as unique, that it's not seen in any other periods of development, since during that time people are basically reworking who they are and everything that they know. This should be highlighted more openly when educating people on this topic because this has a long lasting impact on future development of the young adult. To the point of how unique this time is in a person's development, we can also highlight how unique each experience is every few years and for every person. Expanding on this, seniors these last 2 years have had an extremely unique experience not being able to go to their last days of normalcy with the people they grew up with for their entire life. Most likely to, a Time magazine article talks about the struggle of growing up in a pandemic. It talks about the adjustments that 8 high school seniors have had to make on their own and in their own lives to overcome something that no one alive has experienced before. It is important to remember that when talking to someone, that everybody has their own life and to listen to them with the respect that their story deserves. In conclusion, it is important for our generation to help normalize talking about mental health, not only for our own well being, but largely to help the future generations to be brave enough to talk about their emotions and mental well being as well. This helps everyone in the long run by being able to get the correct support that a person needs to succeed. Thank you.